Taking a deep breath and exhale with a sigh. Let's do that 2 more times. Take a deep breath. Exhale with a sigh. Last one, maybe a little louder this time. Let's take a deep breath in, and on our exhale, we'll just keeping the mouth closed, we'll just emit a hum, like we're a hive of bees, just humming. So deep breath in. Let's do that again. Deep breath in. And I know that depending whether you're with someone or if you're alone, you're just hearing most likely your own voice right now. But if you open your eyes for a moment, you can see that there's almost 80 people that we are singing together. And there's something intangible, something a little ephemeral, but also very, very palpable. That means we can feel it in our heart when we're singing at the same time with others. So now we're going to recite the sacred syllable Om. And we'll do that 3 times, just experiencing this deep connection with one another in a space of prayer and creativity, reflection. Taking a deep breath. I'll recite some sacred prayers of invocation. This is what I do every session with my Patreon community. If you know the words, you can join in. If not, please go into your heart space and connect with the image of someone who you have a lot of gratitude to for shining a light in your life, whether it's through wisdom, through support in some way, through their care. And we'll offer a little offering of gratitude to them now. Om Ajnana-timirandhasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Namah Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashtatya Deshatarine. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasa Thank you so much for joining me in that prayer and reflection. I always find that the energy changes so much just from taking a few moments like that together. And now I'm really delighted and excited. I have my paper ready to take part, and I'm going to hand over the hosting to Rukmini. And if you didn't get the message and you still want to run and grab it for this session, for this next segment, you will need some paper and a pen at least, or a pencil, and also colors if you would like. Okay.
Thank you, Jahnavi. This is your time to grab your nieces, your nephews' crayons, your sons' color pencils, whatever is around the house. All right. Yes, I see the hosting here. Beautiful. All right. Hello, everyone. Hedi Bol. Wow, thank you, Genevieve. Your invocations are magical. I mean, it really is amazing, like the energy shift. I was thinking I need to do this before every workshop. I do. It's so beautiful. And hello, everyone. Wow, there's 80 of us here. This is so special. I'm just taking a moment to even just look through the faces. If you feel comfortable turning on your camera, even for a little bit, I invite you to do that. It's always sweet to get a sense of the global community here. Oh, look, so many faces popping in. Thank you all. This is a really special event in general because doing anything with Genevieve is special, and I'm grateful to be here. And also, this is one of my favorite personal rituals that we're going to do, which is drawing our year. Many of us journal, many of us like to talk and reflect in different ways, but I don't know if drawing your year is something you've ever done. And really, believe me, it's not as hard as it might sound. It's actually very simple, very intuitive, and incredibly clarifying to get a visual map of the emotions of your year. So that's what we're going to be doing today. I'll be walking you step by step through that process. And I guess we might as well just jump right in. So give me 1 second so I can share my screen. All right. Can you give me a thumbs up if you can see my screen and hear me? Okay. Beautiful. So, welcome everyone to Unpacking Our Year. Again, as Jahnavi said, this is something I did in 2021 with her, but actually, I started doing this in 2020. So, this came as a personal practice from a turbulent year. 2020 was so wild, and many years since then have, also been wild. But in an effort to visualize my year, I started hosting these workshops, and it was beautiful doing it in 2020 that it became an annual ritual. So every year on New Year's Eve, I also host my own personal gathering as well, and it's just quite amazing. I have seen hundreds and hundreds of different timelines over the years of people drawing their year, and each one is unique, each one is powerful, each one tells a story. And so that's what I want to talk about today is less about what you did and didn't do, but more about what is the narrative, what is the story of your year. So Jahnavi already so beautifully introduced me, but I'll just say again, hello, my name is Rukmini. I wrote a book called Draw Your Feelings, and that's something that is really, I like to say, my mission is to teach the world to draw their feelings, to process emotions through art, through creativity, and to know that everyone can do this. A child can do it, an adult can do it. It is a powerful healing force to be able to take what is otherwise inexpressible and translate it visually. More important than all of this, though, is that good friends with Genevieve. This is a photo I just found in my phone a few minutes earlier. I think it was from 2021, maybe Montclair or so. But anyway, it just brightens my day to see this and wanting to just share the gratitude for our friendship over the years. And also, more than that, just the creative energy that I've received from Genevieve. I think one of my titles is like number one fan. Definitely part of what I do. And then to share a little bit about what I do, if you have come across my book, Draw Your Feelings, it's still time to get a holiday gift. If you're at all interested, it's on Amazon. It's also in Polish, it's in Spanish, it's sold in the UK, it's in a lot of different bookstores. So if you want to support your local artist, I highly, yeah, would love for you to experience it and maybe gift it to another person. Something else that I do is calendars. So I'll talk more about that later if you're interested in grabbing a year of healing calendar. So wanted to shout out those two things. Also wanted to give a shout out, of course, to Jahnavi's new album, Into the Forest. I have listened to it obsessively since it's come out. It's actually become part of my ritual. Like in the morning, one of the tracks I listen to, I'm sure like so many of us on this call have really appreciated. So I just want to give another shout out for how beautiful and healing the music is that you put out in the world, Jahnavi. Um, okay, so with all that said, I want to bring us right back into the energy of reflection. This is a beautiful handout that sometimes I like to do with people is what are the colors of your feelings? So sometimes it's nice just to identify what are we feeling right now. This is called a habit wheel. It's really helpful to take a look at different emotions and maybe, offer a color to each one. But what I want to do right now is just give you a moment to ground in, maybe put your hand on your heart and check, how am I feeling right now? What's going on for me? And maybe how have you been feeling in the last 24 hours, the last week? Notice if there's any tension in your shoulders and your jaw, if your stomach feels heavy or if there's a lightness in your chest. Notice if your body has the capacity to feel multiple feelings. Maybe you're feeling at ease, and maybe there's a part of you that's also nervous. Maybe you are feeling overwhelmed, and there's a part of you that's grateful. Maybe you're feeling present, calm, and also feeling a little intimidated and vulnerable. Just breathe through that, allowing and expanding your capacity to feel multiple things through and in your body. And you can take another breath and just come back into the space. And maybe in the chat, put 1 to 2 emotions that came up for you. And you can look at this emotion wheel if that helps. And again, you may be feeling so many other things, and we're going to have plenty of time to get into that. But I want to know what's present for you right now. And remembering that this is a safe space, whatever you are feeling is completely welcome. All parts of you are welcome here. Yeah, beautiful. I'm seeing a lot in the chat, a lot of paradoxes, which is also so natural to be hopeful, anxious, sad, hopeful, jumbled, gratitude and grief, curious, nostalgic, hopeless, nervous, relaxed, gratitude, calm, tired, peaceful, restless. Wow. Thank you, everyone, for sharing. And just take a moment to take in all of these emotions, see where they land in your body. So often we're going through things and it feels so personal. But the honest truth is that it's so universal. The overwhelm, the fear, the dread, the hope, the surrender. It's something nice to just take a moment and remember this is one big human experience. And sometimes we need time and space to process our human experience. I mean, so much of our shared interest is the spiritual experience, spiritual music, but also coming back into the humanity of how we're feeling and grounding ourselves in that only helps to lift us higher into that spiritual state. So, thank you all for sharing all of these emotions and being so human. So, I'm going to move forward and feel free to keep sharing. 1 second. Okay, so why are we doing this? What is the purpose? Why is it important? I like to say that reflecting helps us to pause, to learn, and to celebrate. It also helps to bring clarity into what matters most and to move forward with more intention. And like Jahnavi said, the years and days are like cycles, and yet these markers, I find at least, are so helpful. It gives us permission to mark at least some sort of end and also mark a new beginning. And I don't know about you, but I love any blank canvas. I love any reason to feel like we can start fresh, which January and January 1st provides. And this time, especially, we're right around the corner from the holidays. it can feel like so much is going on that it's such an act of self-care to just carve out this hour like you have and be with all of us and to really see like what is happening for me now and in this past year. So with that being said, I like to share this quote. What happens to you is not as important as what happens inside of you. So, what that means is that so many things are happening to us. And yes, that may be important, but what's more important is how we internalize what's happening, the stories we tell ourselves. Some great disappointment might happen in our life, but did we internalize that as a story of resilience, a story of growth? Or maybe something happened and we internalized our narrative as, oh, I'm a failure. That was a hard year. The whole year was terrible. We can have completely different stories based on our experience. And so, what I want us to do today is to think about the story you're telling yourself about your year. And so, with that, and without overthinking it too much, I want you to share one thing that challenged you this year. Take a moment and just see what's the first thing that comes up in your gut and put it in the chat. What is something that challenged you? Again, holding space for all your emotions, bringing that tenderness to those parts of you that may feel a little vulnerable. Thank you, everyone who's sharing. Yes, leaving family home, relocation, mistakes, loneliness, pain, shoulder pain, debt, anxiety, professional work, aging, grad school, worrying, beliefs, moving, pressure, opening up, finding place to rent, standing up for myself, letting go of a relationship, yeah, moving, finding love, working with aging parents, leaving a safe job to pursue my passion, yeah, breaking our finger, emotional turmoil, financial obstacles. Yes, yes, there's so much. Even just hearing this, you can probably feel the weight that there's a lot of challenge. Yeah, a lot that can happen. And before we turn a page on a year, it's really important to acknowledge the struggle. It's important to acknowledge that, yeah, this is hard. This was a challenge, actually. Maybe something that is seemingly small was really challenging, or something unexpected was actually a big theme in your year. And that's okay. So, thank you all for sharing so honestly. And just like there's challenge, at the same time, there's also opportunity and there's blessings. And so I want you to just pause for a moment and think what went better than expected? Better. Something that was like, wow, I didn't think this would happen and this was such a blessing. Again, it could be big, it could be little, but it's still important. It could be a relationship, it could be a friendship, it could be having more time to yourself, time in nature. Beautiful. I see being close to people's feelings, playing music, marriage. Wow, congratulations. Loneliness. Yeah. Community, finding good friends, settling into a new job, setting boundaries, learning to love myself, knowing I can do big things. I love that. Traveling a lot for Bhakti. Beautiful. Finding a meaningful friendship, new friendships, being open with my feelings, personal development, being vulnerable, deeper connections. Beautiful. It just goes on and on. I love hearing all of this. So many different varieties. Each one means something different for us. And I love also seeing so much of it is about growth and relationships, being creative, new service opportunities. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you all so much for sharing. It is, yeah, so special to be able to collectively celebrate that for each other. So, what I'm going to do now, and I wanted to share one more time this emotion wheel, and I'll post a link in the chat if you want to reference it. But what we're going to be doing now that we did a little reflection is I want to give 5 minutes for you to grab a sheet of paper and just bullet point things that happened this year that feel important. So, important doesn't need to be big things. It just feels important. If you want to look at a calendar or a planner, you're more than welcome to grab that. Again, we're not doing a deep dive of the year, but just 10 to 15 items, whatever feels important. So make a list of what happened. And if you like, next to it, you can also write how you felt. I'm going to turn on a little music. And again, we'll just do 5 to 6 minutes of brainstorming. Put it all out on paper. What happened this year? What feels important? And you can look at a calendar, you can look at your planner if it helps to kind of bring back the memory.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Okay. Would anyone like another couple minutes? Are we feeling the need or are we good? Thumbs up if you need a few more minutes. Okay, I'm seeing a few thumbs up. Let's do a couple more minutes. Again, just bullet pointing all the important moments, whatever that means to you. All right, you can begin to just put down your last couple lines, wrap it up. And if you like, you can just look at your list and maybe circle any words that stand out to you, anything that feels important, that has surprised you. Just looking over that list and see if there's anything you want to share in the chat with us. Anything about some what you realized by making this list, anything specific that happened that you want to put in the chat. Um, Maybe a word, if you were to sum up and look at your 2024 without overthinking it too much, you can give a word for the year. Beautiful. I see a few words coming: brave, vulnerability, passion, grateful, moving on, purpose, fearless, transformation, aligned, wow, roller coaster, clarity, joyful, begin, courageous, empowered, taking responsibilities. Empowering yourself. Yes. Learning and investing in coaching. Victorious. Gratitude. Scattered. Connected with spirituality. Trust the process. Loved. These are all so powerful. Whatever your word is, I see so much, uh, so dynamic and so powerful. Transformation, acceptance. Wow, wow, wow. I think it's amazing in 5 minutes how much we can just see and recollect. Hope. Yeah, I love that, Jahnavi. Beautiful. Thank you, Michael, for sharing also about your grandmother and feeling the grief and also the gratitude and catharsis. Beautiful. Well, thank you all so much. I think we're just touching the surface of what we're going to do, but I already feel that everyone's hearts are so open and so ready. And so with this, I'm going to step forward into the rest of the workshop, which is grabbing your art supplies. And what we're going to do is what translating what we wrote into art. And basically, what that bullet point that you wrote, what you jotted down, that's called data. That's the data of your life. That's the what you did. What we're going to do is we're going to translate that into what you felt. So maybe you did a list of things, but what did that feel for you? Perhaps there are so many emotions of joy and sadness, confusion, but also hope and courage. So as you're grabbing your art supplies and just getting yourself ready, I'm going to basically show you some examples of some emotional timelines, not to influence what you're going to draw, but to kind of show what's possible. It's very simple. You basically draw a graph on your paper with an x-axis, which represents time, so from January to December, and the y-axis is your range of emotions. And even as you see in this example, it can range from sad face to kind of anxious face to content to really joyful. I mean, it can be that simple. Or you can have a lot more nuance of emotions. It's completely up to you. And it's very intuitive how you do it. So again, I'll show some examples. Yeah, so we're going to take the emotional data of our past, draw our timeline. This is a beautiful example, actually, of someone, it almost feels kind of scientific. And I love how there's such a variety of emotions. And you can see that some emotions kind of lasted throughout the year. There was strength throughout the year. Maybe some months were stronger, maybe fragile. Some months were more fragility, some less. But what's so great about this format is that whatever month you look at, you see that there's multiple emotions. And so that's what the main takeaway is that you can feel multiple things throughout the year. So you can also do by category. So for example, this is one category that my health was great and maybe there was a little health scare in March. Work was really great. There were new opportunities. Maybe family was a bit more stressful. So that's another way to do it. You can just do the categories and you can see that different categories were stronger than others some years. Sometimes the timelines look almost like landscapes. I think this is a beautiful way to look at it. Some people get really metaphorical and they'll just draw a garden. And I love how the clouds, the rain, it all symbolize different things for this person's year. Sometimes they're really standard and also just such a variety of what's possible, maybe marking little moments. So again, such a variety, not to influence what you want to do, but to give permission for you to just go for it. Some of us here might be ready to jump in. Some of us might feel a little intimidated. My suggestion is to take whatever inner critic might be stopping you, just take it out and leave it at the doorstep. It'll be there for you when you need it later, but this is your opportunity to just play. So bring in your inner child. It doesn't need to make sense to you immediately. Sometimes it might just look like a whole lot of scribble. And that's okay because I promise you, you will be able to make sense of it more afterwards. So as you're drawing your timeline, just put the colors, see how you can represent your year through this visual method. So again, to get started, do I have it here? Yeah, to get started, simply draw your graph. And then again, on the x-axis here, you can label the months of the year. And on the y-axis, you can put different colors, you can put different emotions, different little smiley faces, however you want to represent it. And then do your best, maybe going month by month. Maybe you can be more intuitive and just put colors and make sense of it later. I've had people sometimes get stuck and say, oh, how do I translate my month into images? If that's happening to you, just go for it. Try not to think about it too much. Put color, and what you're doing in the end of the day is you're creating a story. You're showing the highs and lows, and you're creating a story of how you felt. So it's not what you did, it's how you felt. So maybe the peaks represent the high moments, and the valleys and the low points represent the hard moments. Does that make sense to everyone? I see some people already jumping in. All right. So this time is yours. I'm going to give about 20 minutes continuous without stopping, and I'm going to play some music without lyrics so you can focus. And simply go for it, have fun. If you want to turn off your camera, you can do that. This is your time. And after 20 minutes, we'll be able to close up the process and check in with each other. So I will stop sharing for a moment. All right. Put on some music. right. So if you are still in your process and drawing your timeline, go for it. Keep going. We have another 10 minutes or so, but I want to offer a second prompt, and this is something people have found really helpful, is drawing what you're letting go of and what you're holding on to. It's a really simple concept and yet so helpful to clarify that and visualize it. And so I often give the idea as balloons, that you could simply draw these balloons on your paper and write inside what is it you want to let go of. And then imagine yourself taking these giant balloons and letting it go. Over the years, I've had people also say they want to write what they're holding on to. And so this was an example someone did a few years ago. They drew their letting go balloons, and then they also drew what they're holding on to. And so I want to offer, I'll leave this example here if you feel inspired after reflecting on your year and beginning to draw your timeline. If you want to draw what you want to let go of, what you want to hold on to. Again, super simple, really powerful. So I'll leave this on for a few minutes if you'd like to give that a try. All right, with just about 5, 6 minutes left, I'm going to offer one more prompt. And again, all of these are entirely optional. These are just different ways to process. So if you've gone through the timeline quickly, or if you tried the letting go balloons, and maybe you want to try something different. This is a free write prompt. I saw this last year and I thought it was really helpful, especially with the blank spaces. It allows you to sort of articulate how you feel about your year. And so I'm just going to leave this up here. If you want to do a little writing, sometimes after drawing and creating, it helps to sort of clarify what we think, how we feel with writing, especially if you're comfortable with that. So I'm going to leave this prompt. And again, we have about 4 to 5 more minutes before we begin to wrap up. All right, as we begin to close up and come to the last few minutes, of this exercise, just want to prompt you to begin to put those last strokes, those last words, whatever, to help you feel complete for right now. You can always keep doing this process. You can do it again with a friend. There's so many ways to process the new year, but letting us close this out right here and just take a moment to look over what you created. We had almost half an hour together. What came out of you? What words came out of you? What colors came out of you? Sometimes we may look at what we made and it doesn't really make sense, and that's completely fine. Actually, art that comes raw and unprocessed is really valuable because then we can bring our analytical brain and we can kind of tease it out, make sense of it, create stories. But it's really powerful to give ourselves this pocket of time to just put out all that energy into colors, lines, and shapes. And so I would love to hear from you about this process, about what came up for you. So, again, looking at what you created, how would you title your piece? And again, it doesn't need to be complete, but just a quick title this 2024. We sort of did it earlier in the chat, but I want to give you a moment. What would you title it? And when you feel ready, you can put that into the chat. Oh, Jahnavi was the first. River of Grace. I love it. Roller coaster. Yes. Clarity and reflection. Gratitude. Trusting the process. Falling in love with yourself. New beginnings. Clarity, love. Watching the stars from the valleys and mountaintops. Woo. No title. That's fine too. Tears to bloom. Wow. True mountain range. Life is colorful. Living with purpose. Beautiful rainbow of emotions, proud, growing, learning about myself. Beautiful, beautiful, amazing. I love just all of these gorgeous titles. Again, this is the story. So, as you're beginning to process your year, and this was just half an hour, this is the beginning of your reflection, you can think that this is the story of my year. So much happened, so much didn't happen, but the way you frame your story, the narrative that you tell, the colors that you pick, the words and title has a lot to do about how you want to reframe your year stepping into a new experience. So thank you so, so much. Everyone is sharing a lot of beauty here. So one thing, and let me stop sharing my screen for a second. So something I love to do at the end of this, it feels like a little like class photo. But if you feel comfortable, first of all, you can turn on your camera so we can see all the lovely humans here all over the world in all different time zones drawing their feelings. And if you feel comfortable, you can take your timeline and put it against the little Zoom screen, and we'll take a second. I don't know if someone wants to screenshot this beautiful moment and just look around at all the windows. Oh my gosh, wow. I love Jahnavi's colorful one. Jay, beautiful. Sanjeev Kumar. Susan. Oh, you need to put a little up, Susan, so I can see it. Beautiful. Oh my goodness. Wow. Kim, Samita, Dana. Oh, Mother Guru Charana. Beautiful. Jean, Geeta, Paul, Richard. Oh my gosh, it's amazing. Just take a moment to look through the gallery, maybe look through the different windows. Wow, Sana, Whitney, Kusam, Narayani, David, Sagar, Manas. Oh, I see a few people there. Wow. And just as you look through them, and if you want to put it back down, wow, thank you all. It was I find that it's such an honor to see people's timeline because it's sort of like a window into their year. It might not make so much sense or we don't know the details, but you're getting a window into the valleys, the peaks, and the highs of someone. So thank you all for sharing that. That was really beautiful and so connective. If you would like to, if you haven't finished it or want to keep working on it, at some point, please do take a photo and share it and maybe share it on Instagram and tag us. I think it would be so fun to see. So anyway, I do have to leave a little early, so I'm going to pass it right back to Jahnavi to close this out. Thank you all. Again, this was just really, really heartwarming to be with you.
Thank you so much. Let's give a round of applause to Rukmini.
Thank
Wow,
you.
I, I just love going on that process so much. It's always surprisingly moving, even when you know, like I've done it before, and I find all these emotions coming up, and always something new that I discover about my year and the way that I view it that I really wasn't consciously aware of. So thank you so much, Rukmini. I know you have to go, but
Yeah,
I'm going
thank
to
you.
put the
Can I see your
links for.
timeline one more time?
Oh yeah,
Just selfishly
it's
want to
starting
see it.
to bleed. Some of my colors are
Oh my
moving around
gosh.
a bit.
Wow. That's a very full year.
Yeah, it got very colorful as an excuse for me to use some paints here that I really love. Um,
Mm.
And there was something that happened that maybe I'll share with everyone after you leave because I know you have to run. But I wanted to again encourage you if you would like to connect more with Rukmini's offerings. Her book is incredible. I have it myself and shared it with many friends. And the calendar also is great because it's a little prompt throughout the year to just keep connected to that creative side of your life. Well, not even a side of your life, it's a creative self that we should be connected to all
Mm.
the time. So thank you so much,
Thank you,
Rukmini. I'll
Jahnavi.
share the links with everybody
Yes.
after this.
Quite a few people were asking me about recordings as well, so you can share that later
Yes,
where they can get a recording.
I definitely will.
Okay.
Thank
All
you and
right.
have a
Take care,
wonderful rest
everyone.
of the day.
Thank you.
Bye bye, Rooks. Amazing. Well, thank you all so much for being here. We'll just be here together for another 15 minutes or so. And I wanted to share, I didn't want to make Rukmini late, but something that happened for me while I was doing my piece, when my album came out recently, I thought, I'm getting better at kind of congratulating myself for things that I do because I've always been sort of this way that I'll do something. Like I remember when I got my exam results when I was in school, and you work so hard and then you see it, and even if you did well, it's like, okay, next, and you just sort of move on. You don't kind of say, well done to myself for working hard. So sometimes I'll like just treat myself in a small way, even if it's something as little as like, oh, I'm going to get a piece of vegan cheesecake and that's going to be my little treat. So when my album came out, I bought this palette of paints that are all different tones of gold, and I just saw it in a beautiful stationery shop, and I kept walking back to it because I thought, well, how am I going to use that? And I'm not even painting right now, and you know, I just then I realized that's exactly why I should get it, and I took it as a sign of hope that all these beautiful tones of gold, I need to use them and express them. So as I thought I had finished my timeline, I suddenly thought, well, I have my gold paints here, and I realized that they're sheer and they can go over these more bold colors. And I realized that I could use them throughout my year to have an awareness of where I've become conscious of grace and blessings in my life. And I thought, oh, I was aware of grace there, and then suddenly it started covering the whole timeline of the year. And I thought, wow, that really is that really is the reality. So this color just helped bring that to life, and I wouldn't have had that contemplation were it not for this workshop. So thank you to Rukmini. Thank you to all of you for being in this space together. Um, it's powerful. And I hope that if you're not already part of my Patreon community, many of you are already, I hope that this workshop will inspire you to join us more often. We meet twice a month on Zoom, and sometimes we have a guest, sometimes it's just me and all of you. And it's just, I find that although Zoom, there are some ways that in which Zoom can be impersonal, but actually it's very surprising how much it can make us feel connected in community with like-minded friends wherever we are in the world. So something that I do every time we connect in Patreon Sanga, and I think a perfect ending to our time today is we sing together. And for those of you, I think most of you are already familiar with my music, are familiar with kirtan, call and response singing. And I'm not sure if you've already, I think many of you after 2020, 2021, we all had some experience of connecting, through singing on Zoom or through YouTube live streams. And I think even though we're not limited to that these days, it's still a wonderful way that we can share this space together. So let's sing a little bit. And once we sing for some time, I'll also stick around for a little bit in case you have any questions and answers. Some of you might need to go. That's completely fine. I will be sharing a recording on Patreon and also on my email newsletter. So please do make sure you're signed up for my newsletters or present on Patreon, and we'll get the full recording and also all the links that we've shared. Okay, I'm going to get my little friend Tanpura to give us some rhythm as well. So we'll sing together a very simple mantra, Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. And as we sing these beautiful divine names, experiencing how sacred sound can connect us with the awareness of that grace, those blessings that are flowing always into our life throughout the year, whatever our mental and emotional state. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Your turn. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Shri Ram 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 Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Thank you all so much for singing together, for holding that space of connection and prayer, for tuning into the frequency of grace, this gold wash that is present in our life at all times. I certainly feel more connected in awareness to that through spending time together with others who are also trying to be tuned in. It can be difficult. It can be lonely sometimes when you rely on your own mind to keep you connected. We need Sanga. We need to connect with others to keep us steady on the path. So I am just going to mention a few things for anyone who has to leave. But I'm happy to stay on for a few minutes if you have any questions you would like to put in the chat and share a bit. I know that there are many people here who maybe aren't part of my Patreon, or maybe you are, but you just don't usually have time to join our our twice monthly Zoom sessions, because I think that's the case for others. So Patreon, you can join for as little as $2 or £2 a month. It's a platform which allows you to kind of feel invested in the creative offerings from, there's a lot of different individual creators. There's projects on Patreon, there's podcasts and all kinds of things. But it just creates an awareness around that most offerings like this, whether it be music or dance or drama or other kinds of offerings, because of the way this world is, and maybe this is the way it's meant to be, they're not always so self-sustaining financially, and yet we all receive so much benefit from the inflow of those things into our lives. And so it allows us to take part in the process by offering something, no matter how small. Most people that live in the developed world, $1 or $2 in a month is a negligible amount, but when we all make that commitment together, it can have a real impact for an artist or creator. So many of my friends and many other wonderful artists are present on Patreon. If you'd like to check out my page, I will put the link in the chat. And if you join, you're also welcome to cancel at any time. It's not like a binding commitment. And we meet twice a month on Zoom. Any behind the scenes things that I share, anything like that is open for anyone, regardless of the amount that they're giving. Some people give more if they're able to. Some people give, everybody gives what they're able to. That's the main point. But everyone, regardless of that, connects with the same sharing, whatever I'm able to offer. There is the link for you. And then my email newsletter is where I share updates of anything that happens like this, both Patreon and live events. I have things coming up this coming year. I'm, after a couple of years, not really traveling very much, except a little bit, not really doing any kind of bigger events, apart from I'm seeing Tima's face and I'm like, okay, we did do some stuff in London. We got to dance and sing together. But I'm going to be doing some touring in the first quarter of the year. So if you'd like to hear about that, it's always great to sign up for my email newsletter. Social media and all these kind of tools we're always at the mercy of how they decide to change the algorithms and stuff like that. So you may not always hear about things even if you follow me. Okay, so I'm here for questions if you need, but if you need to go, thank you so much again for being here. It's really been such a joy. My heart feels very full spending this time with you, and I feel like I would love to do this more. Maybe we can paint more together in our Patreon sessions. Normally we do a sound bath once a month. We do kirtan, we do some wisdom study, some song, looking at some songs by great saints and poets, and we look at those together. But this is actually such a beautiful way to spend the time together also. I'm going to take a look now at the chat window and see what any questions may be. Can we look forward to your Kirtan North America 2025? Yes, I will be doing some touring in North America. Yes, probably around May time. I don't have the dates yet, but I will share that soon. And just because you're here on this group, I will share that if anyone happens to be in Australia, if you're watching this back, I will be in Australia in March doing some touring there. And where was the other place? Oh, I'm not going to say the next one because I don't have everything confirmed, but I think it's something I've never done before. So I'm excited to share it with you when it's all confirmed. Trupti, thank you for the question. For those who work differently abled, maybe they want to review the session again, go at a bit of a slower pace and have the opportunity to pause. I am going to be sending the recording, like I said, on Patreon and on my email newsletter. I know even sometimes for me, I'm thinking, oh, I want to pause now because you get very into it and you want to just go a little bit more slowly. So it's great to have the recording. And later on, eventually, I may share the recording on YouTube as well. Sometimes I do that, but normally I try and keep these exclusively just for those who are Patreon subscribers, because that's the whole purpose of it, to share something special with those who want to be part of that journey. Michael asks if I know of any sanghas in Amsterdam that I could join or reach out to. Well, if anyone on here is in Amsterdam, and if you know of that, I know there's, I believe, Elke, who sometimes joins, is in Amsterdam. But Michael, nothing's immediately coming to my mind, but if you put your email in the chat or send me a direct message, then I can reach out to you. I'll have a think, and I'll definitely share if I can think of anything. Okay, so there's questions of, will I come here and come there? Taos, New Mexico, a new temple opening in India. I'm open to lots of possibilities. You can contact me through my website. I'm going to put that in here in the chat, jahnavimusic.com. There's a contact form. You can always, I sent that directly to somebody. You can put your requests and things in the contact form there, and I always read those and receive those. Okay. Any other questions? Yes, Geeta, very up for painting in the Patreon group next year. I think so too. It's something that I really need to do more. Tripti's asking how to learn music from me. Well, something that I don't do any formal lessons right now. Sometimes I do some training sessions, but I actually haven't done that for a few years. Rukmini is a friend that has been encouraging me to get back on with teaching and sharing more, because I'd kind of, I guess at one point I felt like there were so many requests, and I felt like it was a bit of a, like you worried if you turn on the tap that it's suddenly going to become like a fire hose, and I won't be able to meet I don't know, that doesn't sound right somehow, but I was receiving so many different types of requests, and I felt like maybe it's simpler if I'm just not doing it right now. But I do enjoy sharing, so I think one of the things I would like to try and do is do more online sharing, because it's a bit limited how much I'm able to travel to different places to do in-person workshops and teaching, but there's still a very meaningful space I think we can share online, and it just makes it easy for us to participate. But on Patreon, one thing I do is that if people have specific questions, like sometimes people ask me, I'd love to learn how to play this particular tune on the harmonium. Would you be able to show me? So then I record a video and I share it on Patreon. I go slowly, show it how it goes faster. And I invite people, send me a question, ask me anything. And oftentimes I'll share the response with the rest of the group so that everyone can benefit. So that's one way immediately to connect with something like that. Sana, Europe. Yes, I will do more in Europe. I think that might be a little bit later in the year, but I'll definitely share more as soon as I know. Michael, I am saving your email. Thank you. Let me just paste that. Okay, any other questions? Oh, yes, the link for Rukmini's book, definitely. I will share that again now. I'm going to share the link for her book and for her her calendar. I recommend both. They're really wonderful. She was giving me her calendar before, when we still lived together, when we shared a room. That's how long she's been making them. But this new book that she released is really a huge ramp up in terms of her. I think, how she shares and presents in the world. I think there's a point at which you could still feel like, am I really doing this? Am I really an artist? But when you publish a book with a major publisher like Penguin Random House, okay, you're stepping up and sharing with the world that this is what I do and this is how I'm showing up to serve. So I'm really proud of her, and I can say that as many times as I want because she's not here to stop me. She's really a special soul. Okay, anything else? Doesn't look like there are more questions, but I'm just very grateful to spend this time with you. Looking forward to connect more with you in the new year. We only have, I guess, maybe about 10 days or so left of the year. And something that I wanted to, actually, since some of you are still here, I'm going to share one more thing that I wanted to share. And that is that something that I struggle with the most, for those of you that don't know me personally. There are some of you here that do know me personally, so you'll know this very well about me. But I have all my life been a person that thinks a lot, overthinks, worries a lot, worries way too much. And when I get caught in my thoughts, caught in anxiety, just that loop, something that can happen is it can be very hard to hold on to a sense of expansiveness, of hope. It's much easier to become very narrow in your thinking, to think, oh, this is going to happen and that's going to happen, and or whatever it may be. And I've been reflecting recently, and it's been sort of echoed by some amazing speakers I've had the opportunity to hear, both through podcasts and in person recently. There was an amazing speaker. He was a reverend who came to Stanford University, where my husband works, and we're sort of part of the Stanford community because we live nearby. And one of the phrases that he spoke in his lecture really stood out to me about hope being a resource that we need to keep topped up within ourselves. That hope is a resource like energy that we need to keep going in this life. As we look around the world, hope could seem like a very difficult thing to hold on to. And so I just wanted to encourage you or let you know that that's something that's a meditation for me as we go into this new year, holding on to hope. It's not a new idea. It's not anything that I came up with, but it's something that definitely keeps a light turned on within me. And there's a poem that I have read every, end of the year for, I think, quite some years now, and I don't even remember how I first got it. Actually, I think my mom might remember this. We went to a beautiful stately home, and I think I might have found it in the gift shop or something. It was, beautifully written on a card. It's called, I can't remember what is called. Gate. I think it's called Gate of the Year, or that is the popular name of the poem. And it's written by an author called Minnie Louise Haskins. She's an academic from England, and this poem apparently was very beloved also to Queen Elizabeth, the Queen of England. I only learned about this all later. I was just very curious about the origins of this poem. So it's written in an English which is, a little bit archaic. It's not the way that we speak anymore. So if English is not your first language, I apologize if there's any words or phrases that are difficult to follow. But I'll just share it with you as it goes. And I think there's one portion of it that's more well known than others. But I like the full thing. It's about hope and where hope comes from, hope in the darkness. And I said to the man who stood at the gate of the year, "Give me a light that I may tread safely into the unknown." And he replied, "Go out into the darkness and put your hand into the hand of God. That shall be to you better than light and safer than a known way." So I went forth and, finding the hand of God, trod gladly into the night. And he led me towards the hills and breaking of day in the lone east. So heart, be still. What need our little life, our human life, to know if God hath comprehension? In all the dizzy strife of things, both high and low, God hideth his intention. God knows. His will is best. The stretch of years which wind ahead so dim to our imperfect vision are clear to God. Our fears are premature. In him all time hath full provision. Then rest until God moves to lift the veil from our impatient eyes, when as the sweeter features of life's stern face we hail, fair beyond all surmise. God's thought around his creatures our mind shall fill. It's something that could be read again and again. And I know for some people the name God is, it brings different kinds of resonance, which may not always have positive associations. When I hear the name God, I think of it being another divine name that speaks to a glory and a grace that we can experience in our lives. But you could replace it with any divine name, any beloved name that is dear to you. So I'll share the poem as well when I send out the broadcast. And this poem just reminds me that, it's stepping into every new year is stepping into the unknown. Stepping into every day is just that. But the light, as it says in the beginning of the poem, that putting our hand in the hand of God is better than any light and safer than any known way. So I hope that this thought is helpful for you as we head into 2025 and to whatever may come. And thank you so much again for being here. I look forward to seeing you in January if you're going to join in the Patreon sessions. And just wishing you a very bright and beautiful remainder of the winter season, hopefully with friends or family or with like-minded souls, virtually or in person. Thank you all so much. I'm going to invite you to unmute, if I can remember how to do that, so we can all just give each other a little greeting. Oh, now I can't remember how to do it. Oh, where is it? I can usually remember how to do this, but anyway, my mind's gone completely blank. Participants. All right, I might not remember how to do this in time. Oh, host tools. Oh, yes. Okay, unmute themselves. All right, you can unmute yourselves, I think, if you would like to.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
January.
Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna, thank you very
Hare
much.
Krishna.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you
Bye
Hare
all.
bye.
Krishna. Hare
Love
Krishna.
you, Haribo.
Thank you.
Happy New Year in advance.
Happy New Year.
Thank you.
You.
Thank you. Happy New Year to you all too.
Happy New Year and thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you, Armand.
See you
Goodbye.
soon. See you soon.
See you very soon.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, Jordan. Stay warm.
Yes, bye, everybody. Thank
Bye,
Hare
you.
Krishna,
Jordan.
Benita.
Thank you
Your
for
big hug.
beautiful paintings.
Thank you.
Everybody wants to leave.
Thank you all so much. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Thank you.